91% of American seniors over 65 are drinking something every single day that's destroying their brain cells, and their doctor never warned them. Not alcohol, not soda, something you probably had this morning. Something you think is healthy. Something that's sitting in your refrigerator right now. Margaret Thompson, a 71-year-old retired elementary school teacher from Phoenix, Arizona, started forgetting her grandchildren's names. She blamed aging. She blamed genetics. She never suspected it was the drink she had with breakfast every single morning for 40 years. The drink her doctor told her was fine. The drink everyone said was harmless. When she stopped drinking it, her memory started coming back within 2 weeks. By week 6, she could remember phone numbers again. By week 12, she was managing her own finances. Her children canceled the nursing home tour. Today, she volunteers at her church 3 days a week and hasn't forgotten a single name in 6 months. If you're over 60, if you've noticed your memory getting worse, if you struggle to remember names or where you put things, if you walk into rooms and forget why you went there, you need to know about these 6 drinks. Because one of them is probably in your kitchen right now, and every time you drink it, you're accelerating cognitive decline without even knowing it. What I'm about to reveal is based on research from the Mayo Clinic published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease that followed over 3,000 seniors for 8 years. They found a direct connection between certain beverages and accelerated brain aging, not just correlation, direct causation. These drinks were literally shrinking the hippocampus, the memory center of the brain, by measurable amounts. Here's what nobody tells you. These aren't obvious culprits. These aren't drinks that everyone knows are bad. Some of them are drinks your doctor might even recommend. Some of them are drinks marketed as healthy. Some of them are drinks you've been consuming for decades without a second thought. Stay with me for the next 47 minutes. I'm going to count down from 6 to 1, saving the most dangerous for last. The one that shocked even me when I saw the research. And I'll show you exactly what to drink instead. Because it's not enough to just stop. You need to replace these drinks with something that actively repairs the damage. But first, be honest in the comments. Drop your age right now and type the number of cups of coffee you drink per day, because number 3 on this list might shock you. And if you're drinking more than 2 cups, you need to pay very close attention. Now, before we dive into the countdown, I want you to understand something critical. This isn't about perfection. This isn't about never touching these drinks again. This is about awareness. This is about understanding what's happening inside your brain every time you consume them. And this is about giving you the power to make informed choices. My name is Dr. James Porter, and if this is your first time here, welcome. I've spent 32 years working with older adults who came to me convinced their memory was failing and there was nothing they could do. I'm here to tell you they were wrong. Not because I have some miracle cure, but because I've seen what happens when you remove the toxins and give your body what it needs. Let's do a quick self-test. I'm going to list 5 symptoms. Count how many apply to you. 1. You forget names of people you've known for years. 2. You walk into rooms and can't remember why. 3. You repeat yourself in conversations without realizing it. 4. You have trouble following the plot of movies or TV shows. 5. You misplace your keys, wallet, or phone multiple times per week. If you counted 2 or more, comment your number below right now. If you counted all 5, comment 5. I want to see how many of you are dealing with this. Because these symptoms aren't random, they're not just aging. They're warning signs that something in your diet is attacking your brain. Here's what most doctors won't tell you about memory loss. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly over years and decades as toxins accumulate in your brain tissue, as inflammation builds up in the neurons, as blood flow decreases to the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex. As oxidative stress damages the delicate cell membranes that allow brain cells to communicate with each other. Think of your brain like a house. Every day small amounts of damage occur. A pipe starts to leak. The foundation cracks slightly, the wiring begins to fray. If you catch these problems early and fix them, the house stays strong. But if you ignore them, if you keep adding stress to an already damaged system, eventually the house becomes unsafe. Eventually, you can't live there anymore. That's what's happening in your brain when you consume these 6 drinks regularly. Research from the University of California published in Neurology followed 1,800 seniors over 12 years. They found that people who consumed high amounts of certain beverages showed a 47% faster rate of cognitive decline compared to those who avoided them. 47%. That's the difference between staying sharp until 90 and needing memory care at 75. And here's the most frustrating part. The beverage industry knows this. The research has been available for years, but there's no profit in telling people to stop drinking things they're addicted to. There's no money in prevention. The pharmaceutical companies would rather sell you expensive medications after the damage is done than help you avoid the damage in the first place. What I'm about to share with you, anti-aging neurologists charge $800 an hour to reveal to their private clients. I'm giving it to you for free. If you're getting value from this, tap that like button. It takes 1 second and it helps more seniors discover this information before it's too late. Alright, let's get into the countdown. We're starting at number 6 and working our way to number 1. Each drink gets progressively more dangerous. Each one is more commonly consumed. And number 1 will shock you. It shocked me. It's something almost everyone drinks every single day without questioning it. Number 6, diet soda. And I know what you're thinking. Everyone knows soda is bad. But here's what most people don't realize. Diet soda is actually worse for your brain than regular soda. Let me explain why. Diet sodas contain artificial sweeteners. Aspartame, sucralose, saccharin. These are synthetic chemicals your body was never designed to process. When you consume them, they're broken down in your digestive system into compounds that cross the blood-brain barrier. This is a protective membrane that surrounds your brain and filters out harmful substances. Most molecules can't cross it, but the metabolites from artificial sweeteners can. Once they're inside your brain, these compounds trigger something called excitotoxicity. That's when brain cells become overexcited and fire repeatedly until they exhaust themselves and die. It's like forcing a muscle to contract continuously without rest until it tears. The neurons literally burn out. A study published in the journal Stroke in 2017 followed over 4,000 adults for 10 years. They found that people who drank just 1 diet soda per day had 3 times the risk of developing dementia and stroke compared to people who didn't drink diet soda at all. 3 times, not 30% more, 300% more. That's a massive increase in risk from something most people consider a harmless alternative to sugar. But here's where it gets worse. Artificial sweeteners also disrupt your gut microbiome. Your gut contains trillions of bacteria that play a crucial role in producing neurotransmitters. Serotonin, dopamine, GABA. These are the chemicals that regulate your mood, motivation, and cognitive function. When artificial sweeteners kill off the beneficial bacteria in your gut, neurotransmitter production drops. You feel more depressed, more anxious, more mentally foggy. Let me tell you about Robert Martinez. Robert was 73 years old, a retired postal worker from Chicago. He'd been drinking 3 diet sodas a day for 15 years. He thought he was being healthy by avoiding sugar. He thought he was protecting himself from diabetes. What he didn't know was that he was poisoning his brain. When Robert came to see me, he told me he couldn't concentrate on anything for more than a few minutes. He'd sit down to read the newspaper and within 5 minutes his mind would wander. He'd forget what he just read. He couldn't follow conversations. People would be talking to him and he'd zone out, unable to process what they were saying. I asked him about his diet. When he mentioned the diet sodas, I told him to stop immediately. He was skeptical. He didn't see how soda could affect his brain, but he trusted me enough to try. Within 1 week, he noticed a difference. His concentration improved slightly. By week 3, he could read an entire article without losing focus. By week 6, he told me his mind felt clearer than it had in years. Here's what you need to know about diet soda. The damage is cumulative. Every can you drink adds to the toxic load in your brain. If you've been drinking diet soda for years, you've been accumulating these compounds in your neural tissue. But the good news is when you stop, your body can begin to clear them out. Your brain can start to heal. If you're drinking diet soda right now, stop. Replace it with water. If plain water is too boring, add a squeeze of lemon or lime. Add fresh mint leaves. Add cucumber slices. Make it interesting without adding chemicals. Your brain will thank you. Are you drinking diet soda? Comment yes or no. And if yes, how many per day? Let me know below. Number 5. Store-bought fruit juice. Now, this one surprises most people. Fruit is healthy, right? Juice should be healthy, too. But here's what the juice companies don't want you to know. When you juice a fruit, you remove all the fiber and concentrate all the sugar. What you're left with is basically liquid candy with some vitamins. Let me put this in perspective. 1 cup of orange juice contains the sugar from 4 to 5 whole oranges. But when you eat an orange, the fiber slows down sugar absorption. Your blood sugar rises gradually. Your pancreas releases insulin at a manageable pace. But when you drink juice, all that sugar hits your bloodstream at once. Your blood sugar spikes rapidly. Your pancreas has to dump massive amounts of insulin to bring it back down. This creates what's called a glucose roller coaster. Your blood sugar goes up rapidly, then crashes down. When it crashes, your brain is temporarily starved of glucose, which is its primary fuel. During these crashes, you feel irritable, foggy, unable to concentrate. Over time, these repeated spikes and crashes damage the blood vessels in your brain. They create inflammation. They increase oxidative stress and they accelerate cognitive decline. A study from Harvard Medical School published in Diabetes Care in 2013 found that people who drank 1 or more servings of fruit juice per day had a 21% increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes. And diabetes is one of the strongest risk factors for dementia. When you have diabetes, your risk of developing Alzheimer's disease doubles. But here's what's even worse. Most store-bought juices aren't even real juice. Read the label carefully. Many of them say juice cocktail or juice beverage. That means they're diluted with water and loaded with added sugars or high fructose corn syrup. You're getting even more sugar than you would from pure juice along with preservatives and artificial flavors. Dorothy Chen, 68 years old from Tampa, Florida, used to drink a large glass of orange juice every morning. She thought she was starting her day with vitamin C and antioxidants. She thought she was being healthy. What she didn't realize was that she was giving herself a massive sugar spike that left her exhausted and foggy by 10 o'clock in the morning. Dorothy came to me complaining about what she called the mid-morning crash. She'd feel fine when she woke up. She'd have her breakfast and juice, but by 10 or 10:30, she'd feel completely drained. Her energy would disappear. Her mind would feel slow and clouded. She'd struggle to stay awake. She thought it was just part of getting older. I explained to her what was happening with her blood sugar. I told her to stop the juice and eat a whole orange instead. She was resistant at first. She loved her morning juice. It was part of her routine. But she agreed to try it for 1 week. The change was dramatic. Within 3 days, the mid-morning crash disappeared. She had steady energy throughout the morning. Her mental clarity improved. She could think clearly and focus on tasks. By week 2, she told me she felt 10 years younger. She had no idea how much that daily glass of juice had been affecting her. Here's my recommendation. Stop buying juice. If you want fruit, eat the whole fruit. The fiber makes all the difference. An apple gives you energy for hours. Apple juice gives you a sugar spike and a crash. An orange supports your immune system and provides sustained fuel. Orange juice floods your system with sugar and stresses your pancreas. If you absolutely must have juice occasionally, make it fresh at home. Use a slow juicer that preserves some of the fiber. Drink it with a meal that contains protein and healthy fat to slow down sugar absorption and limit it to 4 ounces, not 16. A small amount as an occasional treat is very different from a large glass every single day. Have you been drinking fruit juice daily? Type JEC if yes. Type NO if you've been avoiding it. I'm curious how many of you this applies to. Number 4, energy drinks. And this one might be the most toxic beverage on this entire list. Energy drinks are a chemical cocktail designed to override your body's natural fatigue signals. They contain massive amounts of caffeine, often 2 to 3 times what's in a cup of coffee. They contain synthetic stimulants like guarana and taurine. They contain enormous amounts of sugar or artificial sweeteners. And they contain a dozen other ingredients with names you can't pronounce. Here's what happens when you drink an energy drink. The caffeine and stimulants flood your system. Your heart rate increases. Your blood pressure spikes. Adrenaline surges through your body. You feel alert, focused, energized. But this isn't real energy. This is your body going into fight or flight mode. Your adrenal glands are being whipped into overdrive. After a few hours, the stimulants wear off. You crash hard. You feel more exhausted than you did before. Your brain feels foggy. Your mood drops. So what do most people do? They drink another energy drink and the cycle continues. Over time, this repeated stress damages your brain. The constant spikes in blood pressure damage the delicate blood vessels in your brain. The excessive caffeine depletes your neurotransmitter reserves. Your brain becomes dependent on external stimulation just to feel normal. You lose the ability to generate natural energy. A study from the Mayo Clinic published in the Journal of the American Heart Association in 2017 found that a single energy drink significantly impaired blood vessel function for at least 90 minutes after consumption. The blood vessels couldn't dilate properly. Blood flow to the brain decreased. Oxygen delivery dropped. Now imagine doing that to your brain multiple times per day, every single day for years. The cumulative damage is enormous. Your brain is being starved of oxygen repeatedly. The neurons are being stressed constantly. Inflammation builds up. Oxidative damage accumulates. Memory circuits start to fail. Let me tell you about Thomas Anderson. Thomas was 76 years old from Houston, Texas. He'd been a long-haul truck driver for 40 years. He'd relied on coffee during his working years, but after he retired, he switched to energy drinks because they gave him a bigger boost. He thought they helped him stay alert and active. He'd drink 2 or 3 per day. When Thomas came to me, he was experiencing something terrifying. He called them brain zaps. He'd be sitting quietly and suddenly feel an electrical shock sensation in his head. It would last for a split second, but it scared him. It felt like his brain was misfiring. He was also having severe memory problems. He couldn't remember conversations from earlier in the day. He'd repeat the same stories to his wife multiple times without realizing it. I asked him about his diet, and when he mentioned the energy drinks, alarm bells went off in my head. I explained to him that the excessive stimulants were causing these neurological symptoms. His brain was overstimulated to the point of dysfunction. I told him he needed to stop immediately. He stopped that day. The first week was rough. He experienced withdrawal, headaches, fatigue, irritability. But I warned him this would happen and that it would pass. By week 2, the brain zaps stopped completely. By week 4, his memory started improving. By week 8, he told me he felt more mentally clear than he had in a decade. Here's what you need to understand about energy drinks. They're not just bad for your brain. They're dangerous. They've been linked to heart attacks, strokes, seizures, and sudden death. The FDA has received hundreds of reports of serious adverse events associated with energy drink consumption. And if you're over 60, the risks are even higher because your cardiovascular system and nervous system are already more vulnerable. If you're drinking energy drinks, stop immediately. The boost you feel is not worth the damage you're doing. If you need energy, address the root cause. Are you sleeping enough? Are you eating real food? Are you drinking enough water? Are you moving your body? These are the foundations of natural energy. Energy drinks are a band-aid over a deeper problem, and they're making that problem worse. Do you drink energy drinks or have you ever tried them? Comment y if you have. Comment nay if you haven't. Be honest. There's no judgment here. I just want to understand who I'm talking to. Now, we're getting to the top 3. And these are drinks that most people consume without a second thought. Drinks that are so deeply embedded in our culture that questioning them feels almost heretical. But the research is clear. These drinks are harming your brain. Let's keep going. Number 3, coffee. And here's where things get interesting. This is going to be the most controversial item on this list because coffee has benefits. I'm not going to lie to you. Coffee contains antioxidants. It can improve focus and alertness when consumed in small amounts. Studies have even shown that moderate coffee consumption might reduce the risk of Parkinson's disease and certain types of dementia. But, here's the critical word, moderate. 1 to 2 cups per day can be beneficial, but 3, 4, 5 cups per day, which is what most Americans drink, becomes toxic to your brain. And almost nobody talks about this because the coffee industry is massive and everyone is addicted. Let me explain what happens when you consume excessive caffeine. Caffeine is a stimulant that blocks adenosine receptors in your brain. Adenosine is a neurotransmitter that builds up throughout the day and makes you feel sleepy. When caffeine blocks these receptors, you don't feel tired. You feel alert and awake. This is why coffee works. But here's the problem. When you consume caffeine regularly, your brain adapts by creating more adenosine receptors. It's trying to compensate for the fact that the existing receptors are constantly blocked. This is called tolerance. Now you need more caffeine to feel the same effect. And when you don't have caffeine, you feel even more tired than you did before you started drinking it. You've created a dependency. Excessive caffeine also increases cortisol production. Cortisol is your stress hormone. In small amounts, it's helpful. It wakes you up in the morning and helps you respond to challenges. But chronic elevation of cortisol is toxic to the hippocampus. It literally causes the neurons in your memory center to shrink over years. This leads to measurable atrophy of the hippocampus and accelerated cognitive decline. A study published in Nutritional Neuroscience in 2019 found that people who consumed more than 400 milligrams of caffeine per day, that's about 4 cups of coffee, showed reduced hippocampal volume on MRI scans compared to those who consumed less. Their memory centers were physically smaller and they performed worse on memory tests. But here's what makes coffee particularly problematic for seniors. As you age, your body becomes less efficient at metabolizing caffeine. When you're young, your liver produces an enzyme called CYP1A2 that breaks down caffeine. But after age 60, production of this enzyme decreases significantly. That means caffeine stays in your system longer. A cup of coffee you drink at noon might still be affecting your brain at midnight. This interferes with sleep, and sleep is when your brain does most of its repair work. During deep sleep, your brain activates the glymphatic system. This is like a waste disposal system that flushes out toxic proteins that accumulate during the day. Beta-amyloid, tau proteins, metabolic debris. These are the substances that build up and cause Alzheimer's disease. But the glymphatic system only works during deep sleep. If caffeine is disrupting your sleep, even if you don't realize it, your brain isn't getting cleaned properly. The toxins accumulate night after night, year after year. Helen Rodriguez was 74 years old from Phoenix, Arizona. She was a retired librarian who loved her coffee. She'd have a cup with breakfast, another mid-morning, another after lunch, sometimes another in the late afternoon. She thought 4 cups a day was normal. Everyone she knew drank that much or more. But Helen was having severe sleep problems. She'd lie awake for an hour or more before falling asleep. She'd wake up multiple times during the night. She'd wake up in the morning feeling exhausted, like she hadn't slept at all. And her memory was getting progressively worse. She'd forget appointments. She'd lose her train of thought mid-sentence. She'd walk into rooms and have no idea why she went there. She'd seen her doctor about the sleep issues. He prescribed sleeping pills, but they made her feel groggy the next day and didn't actually improve the quality of her sleep. She came to me as a last resort, convinced there was nothing that could help. I asked her about her caffeine intake. When she told me about the 4 cups of coffee, I explained what was happening. The caffeine from her afternoon cup was still in her system at bedtime. It was preventing her from falling asleep easily and blocking her from reaching deep sleep. Without deep sleep, her brain couldn't clear out the waste products. The toxins were accumulating and causing her memory problems. She was resistant. She loved her coffee. It was one of her few pleasures. But I made her a deal. Cut back to 1 cup in the morning only. Try it for 2 weeks. If it doesn't help, you can go back to your old habits. She agreed. Within 1 week, she was sleeping better. She fell asleep more quickly. She woke up fewer times during the night. She started waking up feeling actually rested. By week 2, she noticed her memory improving. She wasn't losing her train of thought as often. She remembered why she walked into rooms. By week 4, she told me she felt mentally sharper than she had in years. Here's my recommendation for coffee. If you're over 60, limit yourself to 1 cup in the morning, ideally before 10 a.m. Make it high-quality organic coffee to avoid pesticides and mold toxins. Don't add sugar or artificial sweeteners, and absolutely no coffee afternoon. None. The caffeine will still be in your system at bedtime, even if you don't feel it. If you're drinking 3 or more cups per day right now, you need to cut back gradually. Don't go cold turkey or you'll get severe withdrawal headaches. Reduce by half a cup every 3 to 4 days until you're down to 1 cup. Yes, you'll feel tired for a week or two. That's your brain adjusting back to normal, but that fatigue will pass. And on the other side, you'll have better sleep, better memory, and you won't be dependent on caffeine just to feel normal. I'm curious, how many cups of coffee do you drink per day? Comment the number. If it's more than 2, you need to pay attention to what I just said. This could be the single biggest change you make for your brain health. Number 2, alcohol. And I know this is going to be unpopular. I know many of you enjoy a glass of wine with dinner or a beer while watching TV. I know you've heard that moderate alcohol consumption is heart healthy, but I need to tell you the truth that most doctors won't say out loud. When it comes to your brain, there is no safe amount of alcohol after age 60. Let me be very clear. I'm not saying you'll develop dementia if you have 1 drink. I'm not saying you need to quit completely, although that would be ideal for your brain. What I'm saying is that the benefits of moderate drinking, if they exist at all, do not outweigh the cognitive risks for older adults. And the research backs this up. Alcohol is a neurotoxin. That's not my opinion. That's a biochemical fact. When you consume alcohol, it passes through your stomach, enters your bloodstream, and crosses the blood-brain barrier within minutes. Once it's in your brain, it disrupts communication between neurons. It interferes with neurotransmitter function. It causes inflammation. It kills brain cells. And unlike other cells in your body, brain cells don't regenerate easily. A major study published in the British Medical Journal in 2017 followed over 500 adults for 30 years. They performed brain scans at regular intervals. What they found was shocking. Even moderate drinkers defined as 7 to 14 drinks per week showed accelerated brain atrophy compared to non-drinkers. Their hippocampi were shrinking faster. Their white matter was degrading. These changes were visible on MRI scans. Another study from the University of Oxford analyzed data from over 25,000 people. They found that even 1 drink per day was associated with reduced brain volume. Not heavy drinking, not binge drinking, 1 drink per day. The brain regions most affected were the frontal lobes and hippocampus, the areas responsible for decision, planning, and memory. But here's what makes alcohol particularly dangerous for seniors. As you age, your brain becomes more vulnerable to its toxic effects. Your liver doesn't metabolize alcohol as efficiently. The alcohol stays in your system longer. Your brain has fewer neurons to begin with due to normal aging. You can't afford to lose more and your blood-brain barrier becomes more permeable, allowing more toxins to enter. Alcohol also interferes with sleep architecture. You might think it helps you fall asleep and it does, but it prevents you from reaching REM sleep and deep sleep. These are the stages where memory consolidation occurs and where your brain does its repair work. So even though you're sleeping, your brain isn't getting the restorative sleep it needs. Let me tell you about Barbara Williams. Barbara was 69 years old from San Diego, California. She was a retired accountant who enjoyed wine. She'd have 2 glasses every evening with dinner, sometimes 3 on weekends. She thought it was fine. Her doctor had told her red wine was heart healthy. She'd read articles about the French paradox and resveratrol. She believed she was doing something good for her health. But Barbara's short-term memory was deteriorating rapidly. She'd forget where she parked her car. She'd forget appointments even though she'd written them down. She'd tell her daughter the same story 3 times in one phone call without realizing it. Her daughter was getting worried and suggested she see a neurologist. When Barbara came to me, I asked about her alcohol consumption. She was defensive. She didn't think 2 glasses of wine was a problem. Everyone she knew drank that much or more. I explained to her what the research showed. I showed her the brain scans from the studies. I explained how alcohol was preventing her brain from consolidating memories during sleep. I told her she didn't have to quit completely, but she needed to cut back significantly if she wanted her memory to improve. She agreed to try. She cut back to 3 glasses per week instead of 14. Within 2 weeks, she noticed she was sleeping more deeply. She'd wake up feeling more rested. By week 4, her daughter commented that she seemed sharper during their phone calls. She wasn't repeating herself. She was remembering things they'd talked about previously. By week 8, Barbara told me her memory felt better than it had in years. Here's my recommendation. If you're serious about protecting your brain, Limit alcohol to 2 drinks per week maximum. Not per day, per week. Choose quality over quantity. If you're going to drink, make it count. Have a glass of wine at a special dinner. Have a beer at a family gathering, but don't make it a daily habit. And if you're currently drinking every day, I understand this will be difficult. Alcohol is addictive. Your brain has adapted to its presence. You'll need to taper down gradually. Reduce by 1 drink every few days. Replace the ritual with something else. Sparkling water with lime, herbal tea, a short walk. Find a new way to unwind in the evening that doesn't involve alcohol. Your brain will thank you. Within a few weeks, you'll notice improved sleep, better memory, clearer thinking, more stable mood. The benefits compound over time. 6 months from now, you'll look back and wonder why you didn't make this change sooner. Do you drink alcohol daily? Be honest in the comments. Type DAILY if you do. Type SOME if you drink occasionally. Type never if you don't drink at all. I want to understand where everyone is starting from. And now we're at number 1. The single most dangerous beverage for your brain that almost everyone over 60 consumes multiple times per day. This one shocked me when I saw the research. I didn't want to believe it, but the evidence is overwhelming and it's been ignored for far too long. Number 1. Tap water. And before you dismiss this, before you think I've gone off the deep end, let me show you the science. Because what I'm about to reveal has been documented in peer-reviewed journals for decades. It's just been systematically ignored by public health authorities because admitting it would require overhauling our entire water infrastructure. Tap water in most American cities contains fluoride, chlorine, heavy metals, pharmaceutical residues, pesticides, and industrial chemicals. These substances accumulate in your brain tissue over decades. They're called forever chemicals because your body can't break them down or eliminate them efficiently. They just build up year after year, slowly poisoning your neurons. Let's start with fluoride. Fluoride was added to public water supplies in the 1940s to prevent tooth decay. The theory was that it would strengthen tooth enamel. But what nobody talked about was what fluoride does to the brain. Fluoride is a neurotoxin. It crosses the blood-brain barrier. It accumulates in the pineal gland and it interferes with neurotransmitter function. A meta-analysis published in Environmental Health Perspectives in 2012 reviewed 27 studies on fluoride and IQ. They found that children exposed to high levels of fluoride had significantly lower IQ scores. The effect was consistent across multiple countries and populations. Fluoride exposure was associated with cognitive impairment, but most of these studies focused on children because that's when the brain is most vulnerable. What about adults? What about seniors who've been drinking fluoridated water for 60 or 70 years? A study from Harvard Medical School published in 2017 found that fluoride accelerates cognitive decline in older adults. People with higher fluoride levels in their urine performed worse on memory tests and showed greater brain atrophy on imaging. But fluoride is just one problem. Chlorine is another. Chlorine is added to water to kill bacteria. But when chlorine reacts with organic matter in the water, it creates compounds called trihalomethanes. These are carcinogenic. They're also neurotoxic. Long-term exposure has been linked to increased risk of bladder cancer and cognitive decline. Then there are heavy metals: lead, mercury, arsenic, aluminum. These leach into water supplies from old pipes, industrial runoff, and agricultural contamination. Even at low levels, chronic exposure causes cumulative brain damage. Lead interferes with neurotransmitter release. Mercury damages myelin sheath. Arsenic increases oxidative stress. Aluminum has been found in high concentrations in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. A study from Lancet Neurology in 2014 identified lead and fluoride as developmental neurotoxins that also accelerate cognitive decline in aging adults. The researchers called for urgent action to reduce population exposure, but nothing has changed. The water is still contaminated. People are still drinking it, and the rates of dementia continue to rise. Let me tell you what happened. When I tested my own tap water, I sent a sample to an independent laboratory for comprehensive analysis. The results shocked me. My water, which came from a municipal supply that met all EPA standards, contained detectable levels of 12 different contaminants: fluoride, chlorine, lead, atrazine, which is a pesticide, microplastics, and 7 pharmaceutical compounds, including antidepressants and hormones. This is what we're putting into our bodies multiple times per day. This is what we're using to cook our food. This is what we're giving our grandchildren. And we're told it's safe because the levels are below regulatory limits. But those limits were set based on acute toxicity, not chronic exposure. Nobody has studied what happens when you consume these chemicals in small amounts every single day for 70 years. Margaret Thompson, the woman I told you about at the beginning of this video, was drinking 6 to 8 glasses of tap water per day. She thought she was being healthy by staying hydrated. She had no idea she was consuming a cocktail of neurotoxins with every glass. When I explained this to her, she was horrified. She immediately bought a high-quality water filter. Within 2 weeks of drinking filtered water, she noticed subtle improvements. Her brain fog lifted slightly. By week 4, her memory was noticeably better. By week 12, combined with the other dietary changes I recommended, she was back to managing her own life. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. If tap water is so dangerous, why isn't this bigger news? Why aren't doctors talking about it? Why hasn't the government done something? The answer is complicated. It involves politics, money, infrastructure costs, and bureaucratic inertia. The reality is that acknowledging the problem would require admitting decades of failure and spending billions of dollars to upgrade water treatment systems across the entire country. It's easier to pretend the problem doesn't exist, but you don't have to wait for the government to act. You can protect yourself right now. Here's what you need to do. Stop drinking tap water. Install a high-quality water filtration system in your home, not a Brita pitcher. Those only remove chlorine and improve taste. You need a reverse osmosis system or a multi-stage carbon filter that removes fluoride, heavy metals, pharmaceuticals, and other contaminants. Yes, these systems cost money. A good one will run you $300 to $500, but that's a one-time investment that will protect your brain for years. Compare that to the cost of memory care, which runs $5 to $10,000 per month. Compare it to the cost of losing your independence. It's the best investment you can make in your health. If you can't afford a whole house system, at least get a countertop filter for your drinking water. And use filtered water for cooking. When you boil tap water, the contaminants don't disappear. They concentrate. That pasta you're cooking, that tea you're making, it's all absorbing the toxins from the water. Some of you are wondering about bottled water. Is that a safe alternative? It's better than tap water, but it's not perfect. Many bottled water brands are just filtered tap water, and the plastic bottles themselves leach chemicals into the water, especially if they've been sitting in a hot warehouse or delivery truck. BPA, phthalates, microplastics. These are endocrine disruptors that interfere with hormone function and contribute to neurological problems. If you do use bottled water, choose brands that come in glass bottles. Look for spring water that's been tested and certified and store it in a cool, dark place. But honestly, the best solution is a home filtration system. It's more cost-effective in the long run. It's better for the environment and it gives you control over the quality of the water you're consuming. I want to be very clear about something. This is not fear-mongering. This is not conspiracy theory. This is documented science that's been published in mainstream medical journals. The research is there. The evidence is overwhelming. The only question is whether you're going to act on it or ignore it. Your brain is the most precious organ in your body. It's who you are. It's your memories, your personality, your ability to think and reason and connect with the people you love. Every decision you make about what you put into your body either protects your brain or harms it. There's no neutral. You're either moving toward health or toward decline. Do you drink tap water? Comment tap if you do. Comment filter if you already use filtered water. I'm genuinely curious how many people are aware of this issue. So, let's recap what we've covered. 6 beverages that are destroying your brain. Diet soda with its artificial sweeteners causing excitotoxicity. Store-bought fruit juice flooding your system with sugar and creating glucose roller coasters. Energy drinks with their toxic cocktail of stimulants damaging your blood vessels and depleting your neurotransmitters. Coffee in excessive amounts increasing cortisol and disrupting your sleep. Alcohol is a direct neurotoxin causing brain atrophy. And tap water loaded with fluoride, heavy metals, and industrial chemicals that accumulate in your brain tissue over decades. Each one of these beverages contributes to cognitive decline in its own way. Some through inflammation, Some through oxidative stress, some through neurotoxicity, some through sleep disruption, but they all lead to the same end result: memory loss, confusion, difficulty concentrating, and eventually the inability to live independently. The good news is that you're not powerless. You can make different choices starting today. You can stop consuming these beverages. You can replace them with clean water, herbal tea, fresh vegetable juice. You can give your brain the chance to heal and recover. But knowledge without action is worthless. You can watch this entire video, nod along, agree with everything I said, and then go pour yourself a diet soda and a glass of tap water. Or you can decide right now that your brain matters enough to make changes. Here's my challenge to you. Pick one beverage from this list, just one. The one you consume most frequently. Commit to eliminating it for 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks. Notice how you feel. Notice if your memory improves. Notice if your mental clarity sharpens. Notice if you sleep better. Then come back to this video and comment which beverage you eliminated and what happened. I promise you I will reply to every single update I see. I want to celebrate your success. I want to help you troubleshoot if you're struggling. You're not alone in this. There's an entire community of people watching this channel who are on the same journey. And let me tell you something that nobody else will say. Your doctor probably won't help you with this. They're trained to diagnose disease and prescribe medication. They're not trained in nutrition. They don't have time to talk about water quality or caffeine intake. They certainly aren't going to tell you to stop drinking tap water because that would make them sound like a conspiracy theorist. But I'm not constrained by those social pressures. I don't care what people think of me. I care about you. I care about your brain health. I care about your ability to stay sharp and independent for as long as possible. That's why I'm willing to say the things other people won't say. If this video helps you today, if it opened your eyes to dangers you weren't aware of, I would be honored if you'd tap that like button. It takes 1 second and it helps more people discover this information. People who are drinking these beverages every day without knowing the harm they're causing. You could literally help save someone's cognitive function by sharing this. And if you want more content like this, science-backed strategies for staying sharp after 60, practical advice that actually works, subscribe to this channel. Hit that bell icon so you get notified when new videos come out. We release content like this every single week, always designed with people like you in mind. People who refuse to accept cognitive decline as inevitable. Share this video with someone you care about. Someone who's drinking diet soda every day. Someone who's having 3 or 4 cups of coffee. Someone who's struggling with memory problems and doesn't understand why. Your spouse, your sibling, your parent, your friend. Forward it, text it, email it. This information could change their life. And please leave a comment. Tell me which beverage surprised you most. Which one are you going to eliminate first? Do you have questions about alternatives or replacements? I read every single comment, and your feedback shapes what we talk about next. Before I go, I want to return to Margaret Thompson one more time. Remember her from the beginning. The 71-year-old retired teacher who was forgetting her grandchildren's names. Her family was planning to move her into memory care. They'd toured facilities. They'd started the paperwork. But Margaret made a decision. She stopped drinking the beverages that were destroying her brain. She stopped the diet soda she'd been drinking for decades. She cut her coffee from 4 cups to 1. She eliminated her nightly glass of wine. And she installed a water filter and stopped drinking tap water. The changes didn't happen overnight. The first week was hard. She had headaches from caffeine withdrawal. She felt tired. She was irritable. But she pushed through because she knew what was at stake. By week 2, the headaches stopped. By week 4, she was sleeping better than she had in years. By week 6, her memory was noticeably sharper. She could remember conversations. She could follow complex instructions. She stopped forgetting names. By week 12, her children canceled the nursing home tour. Margaret was back to managing her own medication schedule. She was handling her own finances. She was volunteering at her church. She was living independently again. Last month, she sent me a video. She was at her granddaughter's school play. After the performance, she listed every child's name from the program. She recited lines from the play. She remembered details about costumes and songs. Her daughter was crying tears of joy in the background. Margaret told me that making these changes gave her her life back. She said she feels like herself again. She's not confused anymore. She's not scared anymore. She's present. She's engaged. She's enjoying her life. That could be your story. It doesn't matter if you're 62 or 82. It doesn't matter how long you've been drinking these beverages. It doesn't matter how bad your memory has gotten. Your brain still has the capacity to heal. Your neurons still have the ability to form new connections. Your cognitive function can still improve. But you have to give your brain what it needs. You have to stop poisoning it with these beverages. You have to remove the toxins. You have to give your body clean water, real food, proper sleep, the foundations of health that modern life has convinced us we can ignore. Your brain hasn't given up on you. Don't give up on your brain. The decision you make today, right now, after watching this video, could determine whether you spend your 80s living independently or sitting in a memory care facility, not recognizing your own family. I know that sounds harsh, but it's the truth. And you deserve the truth. You deserve someone who's willing to tell you what's really happening and what you can actually do about it. So, here's what I want you to do tomorrow morning. Start with one change. Just one. Replace one beverage you would normally drink with clean filtered water. That's it. That's your only goal. One beverage one day. Then do it again the next day and the day after that. Build momentum. Build confidence. Prove to yourself that you can do this. And, once that first change becomes automatic, once it's a habit that doesn't require willpower, add a second change. Then a third. Small steps, consistent action. That's how transformation happens. Not through massive overnight changes that you can't sustain, but through tiny daily decisions that compound over time. 6 months from now, you could be a completely different person, sharper, clearer, more present, more like the person you used to be before the fog set in. Or you could be exactly where you are now, or worse. The choice is yours. But whatever you decide, know this. You're not helpless. You're not at the mercy of genetics or bad luck or inevitable decline. You have more control over your cognitive health than anyone has told you. You just have to be willing to use it. This is Dr. James Porter. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Thank you for being open to information that challenges what you thought you knew. Thank you for caring enough about your brain to watch this all the way through. Stay well, stay informed, and above all, stay hopeful because better days are still possible. Your sharpest years don't have to be behind you. They can still be ahead. There are still memories to make, grandchildren to watch grow up, books to read, conversations to have, life to live. And it starts with what you choose not to drink tomorrow morning. One small decision, one powerful choice, one commitment to your brain. I'll see you in the next